Kandace Edwards in specific. Now, before I get started, I want to say that, well, she let me know that her daughter was being raped by a relative in foster care. I have that recorded. Now, I don't have the ability to sit down for hours on end waiting for a 3-hour video to download because I don't have a place to do it. If Kandace Edwards had paid attention, here's one of the things about talking over the victim. You don't learn shit. Let's say you go into your math class, right? And your math teacher is trying to teach you the lesson. They're trying to explain it to you, but you just won't shut up. But you didn't fucking learn a goddamn thing. When your teacher is trying to explain to you how to add 2 plus 2 and get the right number, which, depending on who you ask, if you ask Eric Christopher Schwartz, my older brother, he believes that 2 plus 2 is 5 because he is an asshole. He knows 2 plus 2 is 4, but it's a point of contention. Some people just want control. Well, I want control. I don't want control over everybody else's life. I want at least some control over mine. I don't have it. What I have is abuse. Now, with Kandace Edwards, one thing that she could have paid attention to is that I do record things. I do post them up. And I do tell the truth. Yeah. A lot of people have accused me of slandering their name, followed sometimes quite swiftly and rapidly, depending upon my resources. I get to post up the evidence that it's not slander, that I told the truth. If you told me something and I repeated it, that's not slander. I cite my sources. Imagine that. Now, if you lie to me, if you tell me something that is untrue, let's say Kandace Edwards was to tell me that she was molested by somebody, and she wasn't. I don't know if she was or not. What I do know is that it is important to listen to the victim and to believe them. But it's hard to believe somebody who isn't telling the truth. When somebody promises you they'll do something repeatedly, and literally they go out of their way to do only things that are harmful to you, not the things they promised they would do. Now, Kandace, this morning I got a bunch of stuff on there. Apparently she finally fucking cares. Now she cares what I have to say. Now she cares to listen. Now she cares to actually get involved because she's angry with me. Well, I kind of expected that. This ain't my first rodeo, and this ain't the first person who said that they would help me, followed swiftly by talking over me about a bunch of schizophrenic crazy shit. No, the Illuminati had nothing to do with your mother giving birth to you. Nothing at all. If your mother is schizophrenic enough to believe that, and you are schizophrenic enough to believe her, then schizophrenia runs in your family. Does schizophrenia run in my family? No, actually it doesn't. That's the thing that is fucking scary with my little sister and with my older brother Eric. Schizophrenia does not run in my family. Depression runs in my family. Obviously, because abuse runs in my family. Blaming the victims runs in my family. Drug use runs in my family. The two people in my family exhibiting actual autistic traits? Are they really exhibiting autistic traits? No, they're exhibiting trauma responses. They're also exhibiting drug-induced psychosis. Since I don't do those drugs and don't use those drugs, I don't have that issue. I don't have an issue of not being able to separate fantasy from reality because I am well fucking grounded in reality because I'm not fucked up on meth all the goddamn time. With Caitlin Edwards, I care about her children and their safety. I care about her children's safety more so than my own. Now, like with many people, Miss Edwards has her own idea in her head based on her assumptions that she just rides as if she must be correct because I'm retarded. Now, when people want to go claiming that I slandered them, what's my favorite thing to do in that situation? Get the recordings, post them up, show that I told the truth. Now, when it comes to opinions, opinions aren't slander. That's something that a lot of my predators wanted to push real heavy. An opinion isn't slander. You're allowed to have an opinion. That's right. Whether or not you told me that you think the Illuminati had something to do with your birth, that's not an argument. It's not hearsay. You said it. I did record it. That's not hearsay. That's actual evidence. You actually said those things. Now, of course, lots of people like to claim that I slandered them after I tell the truth about them. Then they think that just continuing to call me a slanderer is going to magically fix it. Well, let's take a look all the way back at the beginning at Natalie Bollinger. Wanted to accuse me of slandering her name. What did I say that was slander? She lied and claimed I stalked her. That's an outright lie. Natalie may have been stalked. Wasn't by me. I followed instructions. Is what I fucking did. Saying somebody stalked you and they did what you asked them to do, that's not stalking. That's also not opinion. That is fact. Natalie Bollinger wanted to claim that I slandered her. I said that she was on heroin. Did it turn out that I was telling the truth about that? Yes, her autopsy report revealed that I told the truth about that. Not slander. Her dad molesting her and beating on her and having them selling drugs when they were little children. Children! Having sex with them. His own kids. Is that slander? No. It's embarrassment. I told the truth. Not only did I tell the truth, I showed the truth. The parts that I wasn't able to show, thank goodness for her autopsy report. If a woman doesn't get what she wants, in America, she plays victim. She makes everything about her because she's been taught to make everything about her. But then she ends up talking way too much. I wouldn't know that Kandace Edwards was nuttier than fucking squirrel turds if she hadn't told me. What's my favorite thing to do when people claim I slandered them? Show that I told the truth in their words. Would have been a lot easier to do when I had the hotel room, but then again, Not that it mattered. She wasn't going to keep her word. She literally did not keep her word the whole time I was in that fucking hotel room. When she finally made one call with me, wasn't until after. Wasn't until after she'd talked over me repeatedly, talked down to me like I was an idiot, talked to me like I was retarded, tells me that autistic people are all intelligent and we're all going to heaven because there's 144,000 autistic people who are going to heaven. Over and over and over again, I try to explain to her the impact on me and my life of people's assumptions, and she's throwing assumptions at me. You assume I'm going to heaven because I'm autistic. No. I don't believe in the Rambo Jesus. So if I'm going to heaven, it's certainly not your version because you believe in the Rambo Jesus. Now that feller that she was trying to tell me that he knows all this stuff, the dude is a fucking... He's a storyteller. Like Scott Scudder. He's a storyteller. Like my sister's delusional friend Ed. I don't think he's delusional. I don't think for a moment that he actually believes that his cousin can fly a fucking drone over my sister's house, a military drone, whenever he wants. No, I don't believe that for a moment. I also don't believe that he believes it for a moment. Knowing the guy personally, he lies because he wants friends. And he'll lie over and over and over again and tell the most outlandish stories because he wants friends. He wants people to listen to him, but people don't listen to him because he's a bullshitter. I'll send you evidence, but if you don't look at it, what reason do I have to send you more evidence? If we're going to work together and I spend $260 getting into a hotel room, so things that you can send me, I can actually receive and do something with, but you never send it. Did you ever send that conversation between you and I when that guy and Fred Myers walked up? Did you ever share that with me? No. The stories that I told you were true stories, and had you actually coordinated with me, you would know that. When did you actually want to get involved? Now, when you're angry at me. Now that I have said what you said, and you want to be angry with me for repeating what you said, or stating my honest opinion on it, if you tell me your kid has been abducted and your kid is in a place where they're being molested, yeah, I'm going to tell the truth about it. I'm not going to keep that a fucking secret. I would sure have liked to help you to turn that in. While I had that hotel room, while I spent all that money on that hotel room, we could have worked on both of our issues. Kandace Edwards, of course, just wanted to talk about herself and her problems, and that's help for me. Literally not hearing the people that we're supposed to call. I'm explaining to her over and over and over again as if, well, when I explain, hey, I'm a disabled adult. First, I go to a friend or family member and I tell them what's happened and they help me to turn it in. They make sure that I don't have to go in alone. And if I have to make phone calls, if they can't go in alone with me, they can turn in this abuse from anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country. That's because she's an American. If she was in Germany and wanted to turn it in, she could. She could literally turn in the abuse against me from anywhere. I am an at-risk and disabled adult. Now let's take a look at the protocols for when a child is being abused. What is a child told to do? Go to a trusted adult, a friend or family member. Tell them what is going on and turn it in with them. If your friends give a shit about you, they don't talk over you nonstop about their shit. Kandace Edwards can't get out of her own personal turmoil. She couldn't hear what I was saying. Now then there was the part where she started yelling at me and screaming at me and treating me outright like crap because she wasn't getting what she wanted right when she wanted it. Her ideas are better than the protocols. If I tell her the protocols 100 times, she's still going to jump out of her way to do something completely different. Oh, well, let's call this place. You sent me lists and lists and lists, but none of those lists that you're trying to shove at me address my issue, and you would know that if you could listen without interrupting me over and over. You would know quite a bit about autism if you could just stop interrupting me every time I try to explain to you about autism. If you could stop interrupting me to tell me that you have your own information. Or worse, if you could stop interrupting me to tell me about 144,000 autistic people who are going to heaven. Christ. So let's just say that that's a magic fix. You seem to think this is a magic fix. That you telling me over and over again that all autistic people go to heaven. Yeah, we're all dogs, right? All dogs go to heaven. All dogs go to heaven. But dogs are not respected. Dogs are talked down to. Dogs are told what to do. Here's where you sit. You stay. You do what I say when I say. For a obviously schizophrenic person to be trying to convince me that they know better than me is very unnerving, especially when somebody who's not mentally fucking retarded getting treated like they're mentally retarded as an excuse to harm them. That's just dumb. Completely fucking stupid. Ain't no brains to that whatsoever. When I'm trying to explain something and I literally have to start over again and again and again and again because all you're hearing in your own head is that all autistics go to heaven, all autistics go to heaven, all autistics go to heaven. And once you get that nugget in your head, you have to say it. I heard it the first 100 fucking times, lady. I get it. Your opinion that this other man gave you about how the Bible claims that 144,000 autistic people are going to heaven. I have read the Bible. That's not what it says. The Bible does not say that 144,000 autistic people are going to heaven. That is not what the Bible says. Now, there are some people that I still got to dig through thousands of pieces of evidence finding the very specific conversations that I'm talking about. There are also some people that when they decided to kick me in the teeth, it was within just a couple of days of me being able to expose them. It was only a couple of days after they claimed that they were going to help me and talked over me and gave me a bunch of useful information, like, of course, Zach, letting me know that some of my predators were running around town telling people I was schizophrenic, and names those predators, by the way. Some of them are his predators. But Zach is a heavy drug user who has no perception of fucking reality because of his drug use. Now, I had to verify his drug addictions and drug use with his sister Nikki. However, although it took several days, and I had to go find a place to do it, and I had to do a bunch of stuff I didn't even know how to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd fumbled through and successfully made it work at least once or twice before that. Now I'm actually able to take the audio recordings and transfer them to video recordings so that I can post them on Facebook, post them on YouTube. But it takes a really long time, and I have to have a place that I can do it without being harassed. I have to have a place where I can sit down in peace and fucking quiet. Sensory overload. When you won't shut the fuck up, yes, I'm going to have a sensory overload issue. When I'm trying to explain what's going on and you want to talk down to me like I'm a fucking retard and interrupt me and ask only the questions that you want answered, you have no idea what questions to even ask. You would if you heard a word that comes out of my fucking face, but only what you had to say was important. Last night I went through and I got the recordings of the little parts in Facebook Messenger. So even the little things, even her yelling at me in little short video or audio clips, even that is recorded. Somebody's yelling out there. I don't know what they want, but it don't seem like they're yelling at me, which is nice. With Kandace Edwards telling me that her daughter is being molested by her cousin. Yeah, I am going to ask again for anybody at all to try to help her out with that. No, I don't think that she should have her kids back. But I'm certainly not okay with her daughter being raped or molested. Now, if this is something that she's claiming is slander, that her daughter was molested or raped in the system, the fact is that her words are what I base that on. Words that I did record. Words that I did save. Now, whatever it is that she's trying to claim as slander, it don't matter to me. What matters to me is her daughter's safety. Her daughter not having to go through rape after rape after rape because she's forced to normalize with her predator. Same fear that I had with Amy Witcher's daughter when it came to Andrew. Now here's the question that should be asked of Amy Witcher. Your daughter came to you and told you that Andrew Witcher was molesting her, and you treated her like a liar. You treated her like shit, and now she's forced to normalize with the man who fucked her and molested her and a bunch of Jesus woman. Jesus woman, right? These are Jesus women. God ordained it. God wills it. God this, God that. When it comes to the legal processes, their legal processes are trumped by God, apparently. In their own minds, in their own opinions, in their own fantasy world. People raping their own daughters. That's not a fantasy world. That is reality. Aliens shoving probes up your ass is not reality. The Illuminati getting your mommy pregnant is not reality. Your children being taken by the system is reality. That does happen. That's not an alien. That's not the Illuminati. You don't need a fucking tinfoil hat for that. But many people, after accusing me of slandering them, promptly got to hear their own words. The very words they were claiming were slander had come out of their mouths. Your idea of help is to talk about you nonstop, to talk about a bunch of crazy shit that's got nothing to do with fucking reality, to talk about a bunch of nutty stuff and expect me to believe you just because you fucking said it. No. You show me proof. I have no evidence whatsoever that your daughter was raped or molested by her cousin. I only have your word. You haven't sent me any conversations that show that your daughter told you such things. I just have to believe you. Her 13-year-old cousin, who you claim is raping and molesting her. Do you think about him? Are these false charges that you're making, or did it happen? See, I save evidence. I actually save it. When I say I'm recording something, I'm actually fucking recording it. And when I say I'll post it up on the internet for God and everybody to see, that's what I mean. I don't have the ability currently to do that. I don't have a safe place to do it. I had a hotel room. When we were going to make the calls, you were going to help me, and you didn't follow through. You did not follow through. And then you wanted to talk down to me like I am retarded and send me on a wild goose chase of a billion other places. You're literally not letting me finish what I'm saying over and over again. It's that 144,000 autistic people are going to heaven. You've literally learned nothing because you're busy saying shit like that. You are on fucking repeat. It don't make any fucking sense. How the hell can you call that helping someone? Talking over the victim is not helping them. When you want to get angry because I'm talking over you, and I'm not allowed to get angry that you're talking over me, I just have to listen. You're showing that you have zero respect for me whatsoever. You do not care about me as a person. It's all about you and your selfishness. Are all women in America that selfish? No. Just the majority of them, because we taught them to be that way. We taught them that is okay. We taught them that is acceptable. We've taught them to make everything about them and how to play victim, how to pretend, how to try to convince other people not to listen, how to convince other people to harm an innocent man because they didn't get what they wanted, who ended up getting harmed because Rand Ingersoll couldn't stop hitting Amy Kingery's kids. Who took the punishment for that? Me. Thank goodness I took the risk. Those girls are now in a foster home with foster parents that they love. They've got lots of area to go around and play. They get to ride around on ATVs. Yeah, I'm proud of myself for going to jail. I'm proud of myself for sticking up to Rand Ingersoll. I am proud of myself for standing up to Rawlins Police Department. I am proud of myself because those girls got somewhere safe. So safe, matter of fact, they wrote a letter to the judge. Wrote a letter to the judge saying they didn't want to go back and live with their mom. They wanted to stay in the foster home they're in. Unfortunately, they got two other sisters who were with Amy Spencer's mother, or Amy Kingery's mother, Mickey Spencer. What are the chances that those girls are going to be heavily into drugs and probably prostitution? Well, let's hope that that doesn't happen. Let's hope they don't follow their mothers' and grandmothers' generational curses. But the fact is, two of those daughters, out of four daughters, two of them are being raised in a good foster home, and two of them are being raised by a woman who used to steal my little brother's Ritalin and snort it with my mother. Rand Ingersoll is the real linchpin in that. And I got her recorded explaining why it is that she did those horrible things to me. Because she was angry. Because she was angry. She was angry that somebody told on her. Now, we had made a deal before I left. And on my way there, that's when she found out that she was getting Amy Spencer's kids dumped on her. You know how I am with kids. You goddamn right I'll protect them. When you want to accuse me of slandering you, you should keep in mind that I do save the evidence. A lot of people accused me of slandering them to try to convince other people to harm me, to try to hide their embarrassment and try to hide their fuck-ups. Now here's the thing. Kandace Edwards claims that she records everything too. She's also got a lot of means and abilities that I don't have. She's got a lot of support because she's a female. She's got a lot of people who will automatically assume that she's right because she has a vagina. This is America. Nobody cares about the law. They care about bias. Oh, it happened to a black person in a house? It's wrong. It happened to a white hobo? It must be okay. Hobos all chose it, right? Smoking my eyeballs. Now I'm going to look stoned on my right-hand side. Lovely. Now, Kandace Edwards lives in Alabama, and she's a pothead. She likes smoking weed. Apparently, it helps her. It doesn't help me. The only thing pot really helps me with anymore is trying to establish some sort of networking with the other homeless people. They don't trust anybody who's squeaky clean and square. I'm not messing with the meth. I don't mess with heroin. Don't mess with any of that shit. I don't drink, so really I don't have anything in common with most of these folks. Here in Oregon and in Washington State, it ain't nothing like Boulder was. In Boulder, 9 out of every 10 homeless people had a job, went to work religiously, and you couldn't tell they were homeless. Here, it's hard to find a homeless person that doesn't do fucking shit tons of fucking drugs. But then again, it's difficult to find somebody in a house here who doesn't do a shit ton of fucking drugs. They legalized the drugs here, but then they still go after hobos for using those drugs. Or slandering hobos by claiming that they're on drugs. You made the drugs legal, but you still use it against all homeless people. Now, what's Kandace Edwards doing about this? Talking about herself nonstop? A lot of other people claim to me that they were harmed by the same exact people I was. Then they just wanted me to hear their story over and over again, and it's going to be my turn eventually to speak, right? No, if I start speaking, I'm going to be interrupted by some fucking nut job. And I gotta say nut job, because if only the abuse against you matters, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're literally throwing away any and all support that you would have had from the other victims. When you, as BLM, want to tell the white victims to shut the fuck up and go to the back of the bus, you're showing yourself to be a useless piece of shit who doesn't deserve to waste our oxygen. You don't like those things, do you? I give you a tiny taste of how you treat me, and you flip your goddamn wig. There's some of you who think I'm completely retarded and don't understand metaphors. No, I do. Your assumptions about retards are wrong. When you want to tell me how smart I am and then talk down to me like I'm retarded, you're showing that you have no respect for me. When you want to interrupt me to try to give me false praise, somebody sees my Jew curls when it rains out, and I've spent a little much time in the rain, and I get this little curl on this side and this little curl on this side. And next thing you know, I've got people telling me how intelligent my people are, how good my people are with numbers. Same exact shit I hear about autism. Oh, your people are so good with numbers. What are Christians known for being good at? Being hypocrites. Passing judgment on others and saying, you can't judge me, only God can judge me. Persecuting millions of their own people and then complaining that Muslims are persecuting them. Meanwhile, they're also persecuting Muslims while complaining that Muslims are persecuting them. People don't want to hear all these schizophrenics and their imaginary friend all the fucking time. Your imaginary friend, let's put it in the perspective like beautiful. Thank goodness I was paying attention, and so was he. Let's see if I can back up without running into anything. Life happens while you're busy making plans. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that we could have done while I had that hotel room. And there's a lot of stuff that could have waited. The stuff that could have waited is stuff that I could do on my phone. She just wanted to argue with me and tell me about her own problems and tell me about her own shit and talk over me to tell me that I'm going to heaven. Like, every time I try to teach her, she already knows everything according to her. And then at the very end, she says, oh, well, I'm new to this. I've never done this before. I know. I can fucking tell. That's the problem with you believing that you know everything for days and days and days and days. And then finally, you admit that you don't fucking know everything. Well, maybe you should have been fucking listening. You'd learn something. If you'd have been busy listening to find out, instead of telling me that I'm going to heaven because I'm autistic, I'm one of these 144,000, blah, 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 you'd have fucking learned something. If you weren't busy pretending that you knew everything about autism because you got a cousin who's autistic, you might have fucking learned something. When you go accusing me of slander for something that I recorded you saying, you're fucking up pretty goddamn big. I get that you've got a vagina, so you're going to get heard, and I'm not. I get that you have the resources to do the things that I am incapable of doing. So you are 100 times more likely to be actually heard than I am. Your slander can put men in prison. Whereas a man telling the truth about you, he is likely to get ignored because of bias. The same exact bias when you showed that I didn't matter, Nothing that I was telling you was sinking in. That only your stupid fucking schizophrenic goddamn opinion matters. Now, how do you like that? Am I licensed to diagnose schizophrenia? No, I am not. It is my opinion that you are schizophrenic. It is not a professional. It is based on growing up and being raised with a bunch of fucking schizophrenics. And also a lot of autistic folks. The fact is, autistics are not the same as schizophrenics. Now, my professional opinion on schizophrenia is that I don't have one. I have to continue to take this abuse until it is someone who actually cares about me. Kandace Edwards doesn't care about me, not even in the least bit. If you care about somebody, then you need to listen to them. If you can't listen to them, you have no respect for them. And if you have no respect for them, you don't care about them. If they're being abused and you don't even have enough respect to listen to them, holy shit. Do what?
Are you using the mobile app?
No, sir.
What can I set up for you?
I would like a large coffee. 15 sugars, 15 creamers.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Alright, 149 for something.
Thanks, sir. Now, whether or not Edwards is, in fact, schizophrenic and delusional doesn't fucking matter. What matters to me is her daughter and her daughter's safety and her daughter, of course, having to normalize with a predator. Now, I am having to take Kandace Edwards' word for it. She hasn't shown or presented any evidence that shows that she's telling the truth, whereas I've sent her plenty of evidence I'm telling the truth. She just doesn't look at it. She says she doesn't need to. That's the problem. See, that's the difference between a friend and family and a piece of shit. A friend or family would fucking take instead of making every excuse not to. I'm not a nice person, obviously. All right. Am I ever mean to you guys? Am I ever mean to you guys? Alright, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
I would say you're one of the kindest persons that is always
Thank you. You too, will do. If I'm an asshole, it's out of necessity. The 50th time you interrupted me, I probably called you mean names. Am I ever mean to you guys?
Huh?
Am I ever mean to you guys?
No.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yes, ma'am. I am an asshole. If I am an asshole, there is a reason. What reason do I have to be an asshole to people here at McDonald's? None. They're all nice to me. They talk to me like I'm a person. If they fuck up my order, it's no problem to me. Am I going to go to McDonald's when they fuck up my which does happen from time to time. It happens. Everyone makes mistakes. Now, some people throw massive fucking tantrums when they don't get what they want right when they want it. Lots of people do that. Well, there is steam coming out of my engine compartment. Let's see if it'll show it. I'm always surprised by how low quality it is. I can see decent quality. I can see the steam rising. But sometimes when I go back and I look at my videos, I'm like, oh man, this is the lowest quality that it could possibly have. Of course, if I am able to increase the video quality, which I'm still trying to figure out how to do, it ends up running really super slow and freezing up on me a bunch. Now, there's a lot of stuff that Kandace claimed that she heard and she understood, and then her actions showed that she didn't hear me or understand. Because Kandace has mental problems, I feel bad for her. That's what I feel bad about. She has mental issues. I feel bad because her daughter, according to her anyway, said that she was being molested in the foster home that she was in. Kandace Edwards, one of the things that she wanted to go off about herself, which I did pay attention to, unlike her, she was angry that not only were her kids taken from her, but that her daughter was being molested by her cousin, and that they still put her daughter with her cousin. They placed her daughter with her daughter's abuser. But also with the other stuff that Caitlin Edwards says, it's hard to believe those things. Now, when you're listening to a victim, you are supposed to listen and believe. Listen and believe. I'm taking a real leap of faith here with Caitlin Edwards telling me multiple things that are obviously off the fucking wall. The Illuminati had something to do with your birth. That is a red flag. The literally not learning anything because you're busy telling me that autistic people are going to heaven. 144,000 autistic people are going to heaven. 144,000 autistic people are going to heaven. That is another fucking red flag for me. Christianity itself is a red flag. Blame it on the devil and I just need to let it go, or give it to God and I need to just let it go. I just need to let it go. Every time that somebody harms me, I need to let it go. I just need to let it roll off my back. I need to pretend that it didn't happen. Oh, Sean, how dare you ever get angry about being abused? You're a male. You should be able to just magic it away. Then you get to see these women who want to give me all this advice, and many men as well. And what do? When I don't do what they want right when they want it, they throw fucking tantrums. Beautiful. Beautiful. There's a big difference between throwing a tantrum because you didn't get what you fucking wanted and screaming at the top of your lungs for help because nobody will fucking listen. They're all too busy talking over you, talking about themselves, interrupting you. They want to ask a whole series of questions that are completely fucking off goddamn base. You need to know what's going on before you can help them. You need to know who the victim's predators are before you can help them. Now, for me, I get that there's a lot of crimes that have been committed. A whole lot of crimes against me. Now, the most recent one was an assault at the hospital here. Answering Caitlin's questions, they're all over the fucking place. While I'm busy trying to answer her questions, she's got 10,000 more. Meanwhile, there's a process that needs to be fucking followed here, and she's not following it. Her excuse is that she doesn't know. Well, I'm telling you, if you would stop treating me like I'm a fucking retard. Fuck. Now, the real question here, was her daughter really molested? Or is she willing to destroy the life of a 13-year-old boy because she wants her daughter back and doesn't care how she has to go about getting it? What if her daughter doesn't want to live with her? There is that possibility. I'd really like for somebody in Alabama to go talk to that little girl and find out what she wants. Also, find out if Kandace Edwards is telling the truth. Is that boy fucking molesting her, or is Kandace lying? I think that Kandace Edwards should be supervised. At least until she is slightly more mentally repaired. If seeing her daughter will help her with her mental issues, she should be allowed to see her daughter. However, between the two of them, I care far more about her daughter. Children should not have to go through that. There's a video called Law Enforcement at Its Finest on my channel. It's about 2.5 hours long. It's a whole bunch of threats, harassment, and intimidation against me attempting to let the police know what was going on, them playing fucking retarded the whole goddamn time, and over and over and over again, the predator that my sister was staying with wanted to get a hold of me. Now, mind you, at this point in time, my sister, after being threatened, harassed, and intimidated by my family, she was going to listen, and the family wouldn't let her. And so, she was instructed to pretend like I was the bad guy. She didn't have to go spreading a bunch of rumors or anything like that. She just had to pretend I was the bad guy so that she wouldn't be targeted. Of course, she was staying with her ex-husband's other ex-wife, with that other ex-wife's registered pedophile father. That's where my sister had to stay. That was where my sister went to try to hide out. She ended up being the caregiver for this registered sex offender. When Tara decided that she didn't want her daughter living in a house with a fucking pedophile, and Tara left, the first thing that Amber did was get a hold of me and tell me where my sister was at. This very much presents a safety issue for my sister. Or rather, could have been if I'd actually been a predator. Now, during that time, what are the chances that she was doing meth with Amber? Well, I've heard about Amber. I don't know her. I've heard about her rampant meth use. I don't know her. All right? All the people who have told me that this Amber lady is a fucking meth junkie are all people that don't like her. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean that they're on meth. And maybe they don't like her because she's on meth. Maybe Riley is done with her because she's a fucking meth addict. Maybe Tara moved out of there because Amber was a meth addict. With me, I'm very good at spotting meth users. But also, as somebody who doesn't use meth, there's a lot of stuff that I have to consult others on because they are meth addicts. There's stuff that I have to cross-reference and check with prostitutes when it comes to human trafficking because my human trafficking is different than most. Obviously, I'm a male. Males are less likely to be sex trafficked, but far more likely to be work trafficked. Far more likely to be prison trafficked and jail trafficked. They're far more likely to be roll-throughs. They are far more likely to be locked up over a woman's opinion, even if she's schizophrenic. But also, let's pretend for a moment that a woman is schizophrenic and that she is trying to turn in rape against her. Is it okay to deny her the right to turn that in, deny her the right to a rape kit because she's schizophrenic? No. Matter of fact, if she's schizophrenic, she is far more likely to be raped. She is far more likely to be the target of a violent and sexual crime. When you pick your targets, you pick the targets who are easiest to go after, and mentally ill makes it a freebie. The mentally ill tag makes it a freebie. What happens with that woman who has just been raped? She's tried to reach out to her friends, and her friends are telling her that they're too busy. She needs to go in and take a rape kit and make sure that her predator is locked up. But her predator is just going to say she's mentally ill and she wanted it. She's mentally ill and she wanted it. And unless she recorded the entire situation, she's going to lose. It's his word versus hers because she's mentally ill. If he's got family and friends that'll help, he's got a mommy and daddy who will give him money for a real fucking lawyer, all you can do is take the abuse. That's America. When I speak up about a lot of different people being abused, not just men, also women. When I say those hateful things that you guys hate so much, it's always a matter of satire. Well, we've got police that are pushing violence against the homeless. Yes, absolutely. We are in a fucked up position. We are in a fucked up world. When officers can do whatever they want and have unlimited funding from the taxpayers. Taxpayers who can't take care of their own families and have to work 2 jobs per parent in a 2-parent household in order to make ends meet. They can't raise their kids, can't raise their children with any morals. Their children are being raised by the other children at school, and some of them are being taught very naughty things. You can't raise your kids today. You have to work too goddamn much. And we listen to these old people that are fucking retired talking about how lazy these youngins are. As far as physical labor goes, no, they have to work 3 times as many hours as you did in your youth in order to get not even close to the same thing. You had one job in 1956. One job. And that one job was enough for you to be the only one who had to work. Your wife could stay at home with all 5 or 6 or 7 of your kids. You could have a lot more kids back then, couldn't you? You could afford those kids back then. How much did it cost when my Aunt Mary was born? I want to say it cost like $20-something. $20 for my Aunt Mary to be born. We're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 worth of debt if you have a child today. Immediately you are $30,000 in debt. That's if everything goes fucking perfect. $30,000 if it goes perfect. That's a lot of fucking money. And that's, the last time I checked on that was at least a decade ago. It's probably $160,000 now with inflation. Then again, that $30,000 is because you had unprotected sex, and then you want to talk about how you're responsible now because you're a parent. No, you are a parent because you're not responsible. A lot of women that I know that ended up getting pregnant want to blame the man. It's all the man's fault, and the man needs to pay this, that, and the other. Your body, your choice. Your body, your choice. You want to keep that kid, that's on you. You had unprotected sex. He had unprotected sex. You're both responsible, but only you have a choice in the matter. He doesn't get to decide whether or not you have an abortion. He's not allowed to have an opinion, or he's misogynistic. Only you are allowed to have an opinion. Misanthropy. This idea that only black people can be victims of assault by the police. That only women can be victims of rape. This is insanity. We have laws that are supposed to protect children, the disabled, and the elderly. And you're ignoring the disabled and the elderly. Primarily the disabled. Meanwhile, the homeless are the most likely to be murdered by police. They're the most likely to be murdered by serial killers. They're the most likely to die of malpractice. You come in because you've got an abscess. You don't mess with drugs. But of course, because you're homeless and you look like a dingy homeless person, that doctor just gonna assume that you're a fucking druggie and kick you out, and then you fucking die of an infection. Congratulations, America. Even Mexico has universal health care for all its citizens. America still doesn't have that. Repeatedly, I have ended up with debt, hospital debt, because although I had the Medica, whatever it's called, it was taken away from me from incarceration for trying to turn in Scott DaCosta and other fucking cops. So then they locked me up. I'm in their custody, so legally they are responsible for that fucking bill. But no, I've got literally tens of thousands of dollars of bills because they wanted to arrest me and make sure that I was locked up long enough that my Medicare or Medicaid or whatever was taken away. And then they charged me for the medical care that I was denied. I was in your fucking custody. You cannot charge me those bills. But then again, I don't have a real lawyer. I don't have anyone that actually gives a shit. I've got nut jobs like Kandace Edwards. You don't like those mean things that I say? Why do I say them? Why don't I do a bunch of mean stuff to the people here at McDonald's? Why don't I say all that mean stuff about all these other people? Why am I not saying all that mean stuff about Jared? Yeah, I'm angry with the situation with Jared. I like Jared Scudder. Every time I see him, I wave at him and I say hello. I am glad to see him 100% of the time. When it comes to his family, I like all of them. That's right, I like all of these people. I like Scott Scudder. I like his dad. I like his mom. I like his sister. I like his girlfriend. I like all of them. I'm mad at the majority of them. And who wouldn't be given the situation? But if I see somebody trying to slip strawberries into Scott Scudder's drink, I'm going to fucking do something immediately. Scott Scudder might throw a tantrum if he sees me approaching him. He might get angry and start yelling at me. I don't know. What I do know is that he's walked past me at least a dozen times without saying a word. He doesn't cause any problems for me. He doesn't come up to me every time he sees me and try to tell me I'm a shitty person. He doesn't call the cops every time he sees me and try to have me hemmed up. I don't think like is actually the right word for Scott. I really can't say I just like him, because I don't. The person that he would be if he wasn't afraid to be, I believe is a lot different. I love Scott Scudder. And no, that doesn't mean that I want to marry him. That doesn't mean that I want him to have my ass babies. That doesn't even mean that I forgive him for not helping me to turn in the situation with Molly. What it means is that I don't want anything fucking bad happening to him. I don't want him getting fucking assaulted. I don't want him dying because his coworkers think it's fucking funny to see him have an allergic reaction to strawberries. If I saw his coworker slipping a strawberry into his drink, and I saw him picking it up to put it up to his mouth and take a drink, I've been explained by everyone in his family, his sister, his mother, his father, himself, his brother. I have been explained repeatedly that that would literally kill him. Literally. So what am I likely to do in that situation? I'm likely to yell at him that somebody put strawberries in there. If he doesn't hear me, I'm going to hobble there as fast as I fucking can to smack it out of his fucking hand. If I get charged with assaulting Scott Scudder for saving his life, so fucking be it, it's worth it. I'd rather see the inside of a cell than see his fucking corpse. I'd rather see the inside of a cell than see Rand Ingersoll beating on those fucking kids. I would rather see the inside of a fucking prison cell than see my niece's corpse. I've been to prison. And although I am afraid because of how I was treated and the likelihood of me getting treated that way again, I'm willing to go to prison for the rest of my life. To go through that fear and that abuse for the rest of my life to protect children. What are you willing to do? When you talk about how you'd go to prison to protect your own children, I've been to prison to protect children I don't have. I don't have any children. Good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind. Not even if they're schizophrenic. Not even if they're delusional. Not even. Scott Scudder may have been diagnosed as schizophrenic, but his allergic reaction to strawberries is not schizophrenic. Those are actual events that actually happen and are verified. His reaction to strawberries is verified, and of course, his repeated reaction after interactions with his coworkers shows that they are, in fact, and indeed thinking this is the funniest goddamn thing. Scott Scudder won't tell his family or his brother who it is that's doing it, which, of course, in many cases, makes it so that people aren't going to believe you. But you don't want your coworkers to get in trouble. At the same time, his family doesn't want him dead. Between him protecting his coworkers, but still complaining that they're trying to poison him, that is poison. When you know somebody is allergic to something, and you give them that something intentionally, you are literally trying to murder them. Every one of his coworkers who fucked around with them goddamn strawberries after he and his family told them is guilty of attempted murder. Every one of them. How many employees at the Fred Meyers are guilty of attempted murder at this point? I feel bad for Kandace Edwards. Absolutely. I feel worse for her daughter. And we need to get to the bottom of this. When I say we, I mean we. This ain't just her daughter. This is your daughter, your son, your brother, your sister, who are going to be victimized over this if you do nothing. If you do nothing to stop the pedophiles walk free. When those pedophiles walk free, they get to do horrible things to you and to me. When you have a friend who tells you about being raped and you want to tell them to let it go, they're going to a friend or family member like they're supposed to, so they can try to turn it in, and you are dismissing everything that they say. Oh, you like James. James is a good-looking feller. So when your friend tells you, hey, James raped me, and you want to say, oh, well, you just need to let it go. Well, then 6 weeks later, you're at a party and James rapes you, and you want your friend to listen to you. You're not friends anymore. She has left. She has moved on like you told her to. She moved on from you. You wouldn't help her turn in her fucking predator. Now it happened to you and you want fucking help, but you can't find her, can you? She done blocked you and left because you're a piece of shit. Now, nobody will believe you. Nobody will listen to you. You go to your friends, but you're not the prettiest one, are you? He's good looking, and you go to your lady friends, and they all got crushes on this rapist piece of shit. They're not going to fucking listen to you. They're going to fucking grab an opportunity. Oh, he's really horny. Well, I'll put out he doesn't have to rape me. I'm sorry, Diane. I'm sorry that happened to you. All right, now let's go get this dick. How many women do I know who have done that literally to their best friends? Hundreds. men and women. But you want them to love you. The less they love you, the more you crave them loving you. When somebody actually loves you, you blow them off. You don't care about them. They already love you, so you don't have to put in any work. No problem. We'll find some asshole who's good looking, who takes advantage of people because he's good looking and knows he can get away with it, and you're going to help him to get away with it with harming your best friend because you want to get some. Well, then when you don't feel in the mood, he's going to do the same thing to you. My little sister's biggest gripe with her ex-husband, Riley Lawton of Sidney, Nebraska, was the sex. She said that Riley ruined that for her. She's not interested in sex because of Riley. Riley is of the opinion that because he is the man, he is the head of the household, and according to his religion, his wife is required to do whatever he tells her to do, even if it's against what the Bible says. Now, the Bible, I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, you know what? According to the Bible, anything other than missionary position is a sin. Putting it anywhere other than the vagina is a sin. But if your husband says, hey, God says I'm head of household and I can stick it in your butt, you better let me. Or you're going to hell. God will never forgive you if you don't let me stick it in your butt. Ugh, that's not okay. Now you're twisting what's in the book as an excuse for your wants, for your apparent need to sin. You want to talk to me about your God. You want to talk about how sodomy is a sin and about how you hate homosexuals, and then you want to fucking peer pressure my little sister because you want to fuck her in the butthole? Are you fucking insane, dude? Now, I just want to let you know that the particular situation between my sister and her husband, I get that I just insinuated that he wanted to stick it in her butt. I really don't know, though. What I do know is that my little sister said that Riley wanted to be sinful in the bedroom, whatever that happens to mean. The whole she was made from my rib so I own her mentality is completely fucked, and I will not subscribe to it. If my sister doesn't want to give her husband a blowjob, she shouldn't have to give him a blowjob. Plain and simple.